A $900 billion stimulus bill was finally approved for the American people and, of course, to keep the U.S. government running. Now, in this video, I'm going to break down what's actually inside the bill, what this means for me and you, what to expect for more stimulus, for the economy, for the markets, and, of course, how we're all going to navigate this. So stay tuned. All right, welcome back. If you're new to the channel, my name is Mark Moss, and everyone knows there's something wrong, but most people have no idea what it is, how to protect themselves, and of course, how to fix it. Now, I believe it all comes down to the money, which is why I focus on these topics. Now, it's important that we all navigate this correctly because no one is coming to save you, and this video proves it. Now, money gives us an options, and if you like these topics and you want to help me get more people to learn and to wake up to this, then please just take a second, click that like button right now. If you're not already subscribed, hit the bell notification so you're notified every time I put new videos out. Now, real quick, before I jump into this, the scammers are going completely nuts in my comments. They're pretending to be me. They're using my picture. They're using my name, everything. So don't respond to anyone that's asking you to message them on WhatsApp or Telegram. I don't use those. I won't ever contact you there. Don't ever send money to anyone asking you to invest with them. I know that I've said this before, and I know a lot of people think I shouldn't have to say this, but some people think it's actually me doing that. So please, please, please don't do that. All right, now jumping right in. Today, we're talking about the U.S. stimulus bill that finally got passed after months and months and months of fighting, months of holdups, and now finally, like I said, we have a $900 billion stimulus bill that was approved to help households and businesses as well to help fund the vaccine distribution and more. All right. Now, it was held up for months because the two political parties were basically arguing over what was going to be included in the bill. Now, there's a lot of stuff included in the bill that I'm going to talk about, but the main sticking point was that the Democrats wanted to send hundreds of billions of dollars in financial aid to the states, and the Republicans didn't want that. They fought that. All right. They thought that, hey, these states decided to shut down on their own. They've caused these damages. We don't want to give them money. Then on the other side, the Republicans wanted to protect businesses from COVID-related claims by employees and things like that. And the Dems didn't want that. And so they fought. Those were the two main sticking points. So what they did is they carved those out and put them on the side. And they agreed to go ahead and pass the bill without those two things that were the pieces of contention. They passed a lighter bill that everyone could agree on. Now, I'm going to break down this lighter bill, and you can tell me what you think about it. But basically, they passed this lighter bill to keep the government going, to get some stimulus out to the people that are caught in the middle, and all of this. Of course, if you're not familiar, like every other bill, they stuff so much stuff into it, so much extra junk that they try to get to slip in with the main stuff, all right? So in this light version of the stimulus bill, this is the light version, it had over 5,500 pages. So have fun reading it. I'm going to link it in the show notes, and good luck. Spend the next week reading it. But 5,500 pages. And now to put this into a little bit of perspective for you, the March stimulus bill, which had so much stuff stuffed into it, had nothing to do with this, was about 1,400 pages, somewhere between 1,200 to 14 by the time it got passed. So for perspective, from 1,400 to 5,500, it is way bigger. Now, I'm going to give you just a couple examples of stuff that's put inside. All right. There was a political correspondent, Lisa DeHarnaz. She reported on Twitter jokingly that the bill legislates the process for the reincarnation of the Dalai Lama. Now, she was saying that sarcastically, of course, but then seriously, she gives some examples such as the bill directs the Secretary of State to establish a U.S. consulate in Tibet. That might be a good thing. That might be a bad thing. I don't know. But did that need to be in the stimulus bill? For another example, on page 3,555, the Secretary of Energy shall prepare a report that estimates the magnitude of excess carbon dioxide in the atmosphere that will need to be removed by 2050 to achieve net zero emissions and stabilize the climate. Okay. That might be a good thing. That might be a bad thing. It's probably something that we should definitely discuss. But did it need to be in the stimulus bill? All right. But just wait, it gets better. I'll go through these pretty quickly. While the American taxpayers, business owners that were literally put out of business, right? They're put out of business by the government. They've been waiting for over 6 months for a little bit more money for some crumbs. All right. We finally find out it also includes $700 million to Sudan, $500 million to Israel, $450 million to the Ukraine, $135 million to Nepal, $135 million to Burma. Oh, how about $1.3 billion to Egypt? Wow. How about the COVID relief bill also includes $10 million for gender programs in Pakistan? While Americans were put out of work and can't pay their bills, we're going to give $10 million to Pakistan for gender programs. The COVID bill also set aside funds to investigate the 1908 Springfield race riot, because that's super important right now. The COVID relief bill also includes a lengthy subsection titled, get this one, quote, the Horse Racing Integrity and Safety Act of 2020. Yes, the COVID relief bill, the stimulus bill, was held up, and it includes the Horse Racing Integrity Safety Act, which includes creating a committee to regulate performance-enhancing drugs in horse racing. I mean, I can't make this stuff up. It also made it illegal to give racehorses painkillers before training or racing. And I shouldn't be laughing, but I just can't believe it. I mean, I can't believe it. The COVID relief bill includes $193 million for federal HIV/AIDS workers stationed abroad to buy new cars. The COVID relief bill includes funding to discourage teenagers from drinking and hooking up. And I could go on and on and on. But regardless of that, all those things were funded, but the American people, they get $600. Now, in 2018, when they did tax breaks, they got a $1,000 tax break, and Nancy Pelosi said that was breadcrumbs. They needed more. Today, she says $600 is substantial. But regardless, like I said, it's passed, and most people still don't think it's going to be enough. It's not going to be near enough. If you're the one of those getting the $600, you probably think it's not enough. Former Secretary of Labor Robert Reich posted on Twitter that the package comes at a time when COVID-19 infections and deaths are far higher than in the spring, and that for many people, the $600 payments would be far too low. So things have gotten worse, but the amount of money we're getting is less and less and less. Now, other senators, including Bernie Sanders of Vermont, insisted that any new relief bill include another round of checks worth $1,200 for low and middle income Americans. And some economists echoed some of Sanders' concerns, noting that while the $900 billion package was quote unquote better than nothing, it fell way short of the funding needed to get families and the economy on stronger footing. But what's inside this $900 billion package for you and I, for Americans? Well, in a nutshell, the package extends the federal unemployment insurance with an extra $300 a week for all unemployment insurance claims for an additional 11 weeks. So never mind the $1.3 trillion or $1 billion to Egypt. You get an extra $300. Oh, for only 11 weeks. It also sends another round of stimulus checks worth $600 per individual per household for those making less than $75K, $150 if you're married. And then if you make over that, $75,000 per year, then it starts phasing out after $100,000. You get zero. I pay a lot of taxes. I don't get any money. That's okay, I guess. The bill also renews funding of PPP to support small businesses, provides targeted aid to transportation and other hard-hit sectors of the economy, which I guess is good. It has $325 billion for small business support, $248 billion for a second round of PPP grants, as I was talking about. It also does extend federal eviction moratorium by an extra month. So that's through the end of January. So there are a lot of people that are not able to make their rent payments. So you get an extra month of that. Also, it does allow businesses to deduct expenses paid with the first round of loans. Now, this is the Treasury had first said that they weren't able to do that, and now you can kind of double dip with that. All right. So the PPP, it's good for businesses. We need that. Businesses are kind of being put out of business, so I guess that's good for them, right? It also provides additional funding for schools, healthcare, childcare, other various programs. And the image that I have up on the screen right now gives you a better visual representation of how this money is going to be distributed. But for a little bit more details onto a couple things that really are going to impact the average American, we'll talk about workers and households. So the new bill does authorize a second round of payments, right, like I was talking about. So we're going to be able to send another round of checks going back, last time was about the spring or summer they got it. And so that's about $166 billion of the $900. Households also receive $600 for each adult and $600 for each dependent, instead of the $1,200 and the $500 respectively that they got in the first round. Now, Mixed status households, where some people are ineligible non-citizens, would get payments based on the number of eligible people in the households, as opposed to in the past just being shut out, not getting any money at all. Now, the payments you would expect to receive will be based on income from last year, 2019, and then, like I said, it starts phasing out for people that make over those amounts, over 100,000. Now, if you qualify, the good news for you, if you qualify, is the Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin said that the first electronic payments could reach bank accounts by the beginning of next week. But like I said, if you're over the threshold, like I am, then sorry, no money for you. Now, two other things I want to touch on that might be of importance to you. All right, now, if you are out of a job, you'd be eligible for $300 a week of federal unemployment subsidy. As with the prior aid package back in March, gig workers, contract workers, and those who wouldn't ordinarily qualify for benefits are also eligible for jobless aid. Now, the money is available through March 14th and extends to 50 weeks of unemployment, which is good because typically you're getting about 26 weeks. That's what most states do. So you're basically getting double that. Now, like I said, there is some assistance for rental assistance. So there's about $25 billion of assistance for tenants who are behind on their rent. And it also, like I said, extends just until January 2021. So it's about, another month, but it also is good for a federal eviction prohibition. Now, the incoming Biden administration might be able to extend this, but as of right now, that's where it's at. Now, for the landlords, they can't evict people and they're not getting paid. I'm a landlord, so that's tough for me not being able to collect money. But at least it says now that building owners can now can apply on behalf of the tenants that meet the eligibility requirements, which is basically if you're making less than 80% of the median income in your area, you have at least one person in the household who's lost a job, and then you can demonstrate that you're at risk of losing your home, then you'd qualify. Now, if you need some money and you qualify, this is great news, right? But what does it mean on a larger picture? So a lot of times people are really voting for themselves. If this is good for me, I'm voting. And unfortunately, not as many people really think about the impact of the greater good. It's good for me, but what does it mean for the country? What does it mean for everybody else? So what does this mean on a larger picture, right? Now, what does it mean for the country? What does it mean for the US dollar? What does it mean for us as investors? That's a good question too. So based on the cost estimates of the various provisions and applying the corresponding fiscal multipliers that you can see from the chart on the screen, Bank of America estimates that the new stimulus package will contribute approximately 2.7% to growth in 2021. Now that sounds great, right? Until you consider that the U.S. lost 32% of GDP when the pandemic hit. So 2.7 of growth isn't a whole lot when we've lost 32%, right? Like I said, especially what was lost. Now, the GDP that we lost is expected to reduce tax receipts by tens of billions, if not more than $100 billion. That's a big, big loss. Now, judging by how hard it was to get this bill passed, it might appear that getting another one through in the future could be very, very difficult, if not completely impossible. The two different political sides, they just can't get along, right? At least that's what it seems like. So it could hold it up, but it does seem that there's one other thing that we know for certain, right? There's a lot of uncertainty, but one thing that seems like we do know for certain is that the government and the central banks are going to keep spending. They're going to keep spending. Now, most analysts don't expect any sharp turnaround in the economy, even with the recent vaccine push, right? Fauci and others are saying that even with the vaccine, businesses in the economy might not open back up until the end of 2022. Now, in addition, I have talked about other videos. The president-elect Biden is talking about bringing Janet Yellen onto the Treasury, and I talked about what that means. If you want to go back and watch that video. But basically making the Treasury and the Federal Reserve kind of seamlessly integrate together so we could see money creation, money printing, money injection at a level that we have never seen. So for 2021, I expect more money printing. I expect more stimulus, right? One way or another, they are going to do that. And it's going to have a continued push into our investing thesis, which is, of course, as they continue to print unlimited amounts of fake fiat currency, it pushes people into real hard assets, gold, silver, Bitcoin, commodities, things like that. What do you think about that? Do you think they're going to continue printing? They have no other choice, right? The economy shut down. People need money. They're angling to get the politics and the banks put together. Let me know what you think. Leave me a comment down below. I try to reply to every comment, at least as best as I can. Give me a thumbs up on this video if you like it. If you don't like the video, I don't know why. I'm just kidding. Give me a thumbs down either way, but leave me a comment and let me know what you think, and I'm going to try to reply to every single one of them. All right, that's what I got for you today. To your success. I'm out.